Coming up on Kochie's Business Builders, how to make your business work for your lifestyle. Tips from the AFL on building a winning culture with Gen Y staff, and sleepwear king Peter Alexander on successfully mixing creativity with business process. Hello and welcome to KBB and another star-studded lineup of small business gurus sharing their secrets to success. First up, it's news you can use. It can be tough to justify a big capital outlay on new computers, but research suggests it costs more to stick with the old systems than it does to upgrade. A recent study by Intel shows employees lose 42 hours a year using older PCs because of time needed for repairs, maintenance and security issues. Based on a conservative cost of $20 an hour, that's $840 a year for every antique computer in the office. And the older the computer, the bigger the problem. With more than 36% of small businesses using PCs that are over 4 years old, there's 1 in 3 chance you could be making a saving by upgrading. Doug Barton started Elevate Education straight out of uni after he realised that school would have been a whole lot easier if he'd had a few pointers on how to study better. But over the years, it didn't stop him travelling as he expanded the business to suit his lifestyle. I sat down with Doug for some pointers on how to avoid being held hostage by your business. So Doug, tell us about your business.
One of the assumptions that's always been made is that students know how to study. It was only at university where I really began to learn how to study, and after about 3 years of uni thought, geez, I wish I had have known what I know now back when I was in year 12. We were young enough and stupid enough to decide, well, let's turn it into a company and let's go and do that. And so today, Elevate's basically paid by schools to come in and to actually teach their students how to study.
So you started the business at uni. Now it's built into a major business with 700 school clients here in Australia, but expanded into the UK and South Africa. Why did you go offshore?
Really, it was probably serendipity. One of our staff members had actually worked in the past in a UK school, and he went back to the UK, he visited the old principal, and the principal asked him, what are you doing today? He explained what he does at Elevate, and the principal said, this sounds fantastic, it sounds exactly like what we need, and invited us over, and we sat down and thought about it, and we thought, well, it's a little bit odd because we're not in South Australia or Western Australia, but why not? And yeah, we decided to go for it and open up in the UK.
This business kept growing and growing, but you kept doing the things you wanted to do, like travel and things. How have you managed it?
A few years into it, I sat down and created a vision of where I wanted Elevate to be in 5 years' time, and I realised I had a choice. Either I kept doing what I was doing at the time, in which case the business could simply not get any larger, or alternatively, I had to begin to delegate. I had a catchphrase, which was just get out of the way of the business, and I set myself a target of making myself redundant within 6 months of any role I was performing. And as soon as I did that, that actually then began to create the space to actually have a lifestyle, to be able to travel.
And technology makes it so much easier today too, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the key elements in being able to actually watch what's happening, if you're going to delegate, you don't want to delegate blindly. You want to have, it's by following along that you can actually develop that trust. And so we use a series of kind of dashboards that provide the progress of every single office in real time. So if a business is heading off course, we know, okay, we can intervene in it immediately. So rather than waiting for problems to blow up in 6 months' time and being sucked into the business for 3 months to solve them, we can solve it quickly in a day or 2 days.
Okay, so for small business owners want to do the same thing, the best tips?
Probably 4 tips. 1, get out of the way of the business. Create a do not do list. So don't spend your time constantly doing. Work out what you want to delegate and get rid of it. 2, as we said, systems. Create really robust systems that people can pick up quickly. 3, get great people. And 4, I recommend getting an advisory board or some kind of governance structure that actually forces you to do it, because it's so easy to go back into the business, and having an advisory board or a mentor or whatever forces you to actually do what you say you're going to do.
Coming up next, Tips from the AFL on how to manage and motivate Gen Y staff. This business tip brought to you by NAB. We see Australian business. Tim, you say you see Australian business. I'm a tradie, wants to set up a Facebook page. What do you see for me?
Well, Kochie, the good news is that it actually doesn't take much to take advantage of the opportunity with Facebook, but many of our customers just don't know where to start. Given that over 9 million Australians log into Facebook every day, we're here to help. And so to that end, we've partnered with Tiger Pistol, who have a fantastic approach to establishing a Facebook presence.
So what approach is that?
Well, we think simplicity is the key to success with Facebook. So we think a simple 3-step process works best. And the first step is to grow. So that means to actively grow your fan base to a healthy level.
Okay, that's the first step. 2 and 3?
The second step is all about engagement. So that's ensuring that you're actually posting content that your audience is engaging with and that you're adapting that content to what they like the most. The final stage is all about conversion. So once you've got a healthy fan base, they're engaged, you need to switch the focus to converting that to new business.
So then is that a set and forget approach?
No, definitely not. Customers need to continue to cycle through these different phases to ensure that they are growing their fan base and they're engaging with their fan base and actually increasing conversion opportunities.
Beauty. Facebook in 3 easy steps. Thanks, Tim. For more information, visit nab.com.au/small business. So many business owners complain to me about dealing with Gen Y staff, that they're hard to motivate, they're hard to focus, that they're unreliable. Well, in the sporting arena, Port Adelaide AFL Club staged a remarkable turnaround this year with the 3rd youngest list in the competition, a list packed with Gen Ys. I sat down with Coach Ken Hinkley to find out his secrets for motivating this supposedly troublesome generation. All your staff are Gen Y. How do you manage them so well?
I think they're like all of us. They just like some honesty. They like some real clear direction. And we try to give them that. And when we give them that with honesty together, I think they accept it pretty well. And I think they handle it better than people give them credit for.
What about the messaging, the way you message to Gen Ys as distinct to an older generation? You've got senior players there, very junior players, what, from 30-odd down to 18. How do you do it differently?
When they're at different stages in their career, they do need a little bit of difference. You know, there's not long to go for some, and there's an incredible long time for others, and they're all trying to achieve certain things, and they've got different levels that they're trying to get to. If they know their role, they're prepared to play their role, and then they accept their role, they'll all manage that okay, but they have to have that clarity of what that role is. You test the players on the messages you get through, and if the results aren't very good, you don't blame the players, you blame the coaches. Gen Y are pretty smart. You know, they're much more educated than any of the people in the past. So they come through, they have an education. It must be our teaching skills that are letting them down if they're not getting the messages right.
That is a great message for business though, isn't it? Because business executives and managers, if Gen Y doesn't get it right, they'll blame Gen Y. They never look at themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is. It's a good message for anyone in anything you do. You know, you've got to make sure the message is clear and don't go thinking that it's wrong over the other side when it might be right in your own home that you've got to get right.
How do you encourage them to take risks?
We've got to play brave. We've got to use the ball and be really brave and committed to that. And then if they make a mistake, perhaps the decision wasn't right, but I'm never going to tell you not to be brave.
Yep, but so many in business will say, you conform to us, you do exactly what we say, you don't have the freedom to think for yourself. That's a mistake for this generation.
That's the Gen Y mistake. You've got to let them be themselves a little bit.
You've been renowned right through the game of changing a culture almost overnight. Give us the tips on the keys to that. How did you do it?
Look, I work on the small things. If you do the little things well and you're prepared to do them every day of the week, the culture will change every minute of every day of the week. That's what happens. But if you're prepared to skip over one of them and you're prepared to turn a blind eye to one of them, you're not going to affect culture the way you want it. Culture has changed over a consistent time of consistent behaviour.
And leadership groups, how important are they?
They are important, but I say to our leadership group all the time, their most important time is to lead on game day. We expect that from them on game day, to be committed to the team. They do that really well. I think, have to set the agenda most of the time through the week with the other stuff, as I just talked about, the little thing stuff, and then they'll run with me. If they see results, they'll come with you. Gen Y will come with you with results. There's no doubt about that.
Coming up next on KBB, how Peter Alexander balances creativity with good corporate process. This business tip brought to you by DOT, digital office technology from Telstra. So, Mark, Australian digital and internet services are certainly catching up with the rest of the world. What are you guys at Telstra doing to help small business modernise?
Well, the National Broadband Network is obviously a big part of that, and we're at the front and centre. And if NBN is available in your area, we'll take the responsibility to transfer you across to the new network, talk to you about installation requirements, and work together to make sure it's a simple process.
So that's the NBN. What about other digital services?
Well, at Telstra, we've developed DOT, or Digital Office Technology, which is a small business pick and mix bundle that starts off with a core plan that includes a fixed voice and fixed broadband connection. Plus, you can add extra features such as mobiles, mobile broadband, and even additional analogue lines so your fax, FPOS and alarm lines can continue to operate. It's an all-in-one solution that fits nicely onto a single bill. Plus, you also get professional installation where an experienced Telstra technician can show up on site and take you through the whole process and get you up and running on day dot.
To find out more, go online and visit telstra.com/dot. Peter Alexander has built a terrific business empire on the back of recognising a niche in the sleepwear market. After 13 years, he teamed up with the Just Group to expand the business even further. I caught up with Peter and Judy Coomer to find out how they balance creativity with corporate. Peter, 26th year, how did it all start?
Started with a really stupid idea and $3,000 from my dad, who gave me that money to risk on my stupid idea.
Did that $3,000 come with any advice?
Well, the only advice he gave me, which I actually took to heart, was always treat your customers like you would want your mother to be treated.
Why the link up with Just Group?
Well, I think one of my strengths is I know my weaknesses. And my weakness was not handling the pressure on running a big business. And my business was growing very dramatically and I was struggling to keep up with the demand of it.
Judy, what do you add to a business like this?
So we overlay Peter's creative intent with good commercial sense, and we think we've got the right formula. What we have started to work through, though, is a 3-year plan in terms of what its potential is.
But a lot of people in your position feel threatened.
I've been doing this for 26 years.
Yeah.
I understand how sometimes I push it a bit and I have to be pulled back on a commercial level. It's nice to be sort of looked after and over.
So, Judy, take us through the strategy for the next 3 years.
We've got lots of really exciting plans. The first is we want store growth. So we currently have 55 stores in Australia and we'll grow to about 75 to 80. And so we've grown children's wear and expanded that significantly. We launched that about a month ago. And I do understand that you're a grandfather and are growing your number of grandchildren, so we need to look after you. We've also launched a New Zealand online store. They're really 3 really exciting initiatives just to start with.
So in this time of doom and gloom, you know, everyone's saying, oh, retail's hard. What's the secret of this brand?
It's pyjamas, but it's fashion. And people buy the whole dream and the romance of the store environment. Peter, as the founder and the ambassador for the brand, the association with the dogs, it's just a lovely niche brand that people really buy into.
But is that how a niche product, quality product, premium price, is that how you get over the cheaper brands?
I think the public really recognise that there's a person behind this company, which is so rare in fashion today. It's so run by profit lines and, you know, doing things like that. And it's still but I don't worry.
And Judy's saying, yes, of course I did.
But I don't worry about it. That's her job. I just do what I love and be creative, and then the other part of the business does all that.
So, Peter, 3 tips for your success that you share with other people?
Well, I'll probably say the one that you've heard the most is love what you do. The second one is Plan for success, but prepare for failure, because businesses have a lot of up and downs. Work hard and listen. I spoke to a lot of people in the industry before I started.
And Judy, your three?
Being humble and being prepared to listen, and also appreciating that there are other people with other expertise that you can tap into, as Peter has, is a great piece of advice for anybody wanting to do what Peter has done.
Coming up, Ask Kochie, where we answer your questions.
This segment brought to you by NAB. We see Australian business.
G'day, I'm Eric from E&C Joinery. This is our factory down in Pakenham, and we're here to supply joinery for anyone that requires it in Victoria. We got started approximately 21 years ago. I set up a cabinet making shop for another building company and thought, well, let's do it ourselves. And me and Cheryl committed ourselves, and off we went. A lot of people think when they start their own business nowadays, they think go and buy a motorbike, a Malibu and a new speedboat, have your own business, play golf once a week. But it's nothing like that at all. It's, you know, the nuts and bolts of it all is just you need to work while the work's there as many hours as you can, and the relaxation might come 15, 20, 25 years later. A lot of cabinet makers I know, as the volume was there, they got bigger machinery, bigger factories, more cars, more trucks, and then when the work died down a little bit, it was very hard for them to gear backwards, where we've sort of stayed more conservative and just bought panel saws, bought trucks and utes that we can pay for, and spend within your means. Don't spend what you haven't got. And that way, if it's not getting used, it's not a burden on you financially. My previous employer was fantastic and he taught me a lot. One of the biggest things I did learn from him, don't take anyone for granted, and always look after the people that look after you. You know, your staff, you're only as good as the staff you've got out there. You can get the job in, but then the job still has to go out. And then that's where you need the staff. So if you look after the staff, and if the staff are sort of going out of their way to help you after hours, weekends, doing extra work, they should be looked after accordingly. And that's the problem. A lot of people don't look after people. I'm a big believer, if you do the right thing by people, the work will come back. Be honest, don't try and be too greedy on each individual job. Just do the right thing, charge accordingly to what the job's worth, and fulfil your commitment, irrelevant of the result at the other end. The NAB Bank have been absolutely fantastic for us. I think we joined them would have been 15, 16 years ago, and they've just been tremendous. Anytime we've asked for things, they've sat down and spoke to us. We've got to know Scott really well at the Pakenham branch, and the idea of the way the banks have gone back to small business-wise, it's just been beneficial, comfortable to us. I can ring Scott up any time of the day and run something by him, and he'll tell me. But as he knows, that we're not going to ask for things that we know we can't sustain or can't pay back later. So we just work together, but whenever we've asked for anything, they've just been tremendous. It makes it so much easier for us. I still enjoy what I do. I still love the clientele I meet, and I just think it's a fantastic building industry, fantastic clientele base, the staff are good, and just be positive about what you do. Be cheery and happy every day, because there's someone else with more problems than you around the corner.
For more information, visit nab.com.au/smallbusiness.
It's Tech Tip Time with Val Quinn.
Video can be a great opportunity for your business, so why should you consider it? Well, first off, video is a great way of bringing awareness and credibility to your brand. It helps boost SEO and gives you the opportunity to demonstrate or show off your product and expertise. So, what are your choices? There are probably two key platforms. One is YouTube and the other is Vimeo. Now, YouTube is free, first off. It's very easy to use, and you can embed and share the videos that you create on your site. Now, it's owned by Google, so it also helps promote the videos that you create. How about Vimeo? It's higher quality, it offers HD videos, and it sometimes has a better look and feel. Here are a few general tips about creating video for your business. First off, keep it short and sharp. Now, in order to try to increase your video's viral ability, or how often people share and pass it on to others, again, you have to get creative here and make it something that people want to pass on.
Now back to answer some of your questions. Andy sent this in via Facebook. I'd like to trademark a phrase that I want to use in kids' clothing. Number one, is it necessary? Number two, is a trademark the way to go, or do you apply for a copyright? And number three, is there anything I'm forgetting? Now, some people can get a bit trigger happy with IP protection, so be sure the idea is something you'll be pressing on with before you put a stamp on it. That said, you may want to secure a trademark for peace of mind and protection down the track, especially as it's a relatively cheap and easy process through IP Australia. This is the place to search for any trademarks that may be in conflict and then register yours. The IP Australia website has everything you need to know and a great step-by-step guide to find the most suitable protection for your idea, your phrase, your brand, your logo, or invention. So be sure to flip through and find the right fit before finalising registration. Now, before we go, as Val said earlier, SEO is so important to your business. Don't forget, if you want a hand with your SEO for your business, KBB Digital is the place to go. Go to kbbdigital.com.au for more information. Next week on KBB, how to get paid on time and improve cash flow, expert tips to turbocharge sales for this week's last push to Christmas, and a sporting business lesson from champion surfer Lane Beachley.